Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Positive start for Europe. Clarkson maintains dividend analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID F5337A8102028 069 AM. European markets opened modestly higher this morning, shrugging off concerns about rising US, China tensions, as Hong Kong police start a series of arrests targeting high-profile pro-democracy figures across the region. Last Friday's U.S. payrolls numbers painted a fairly positive picture of the U.S. labor market in July. However, there are some concerns that these numbers may not accurately reflect the recent disruption caused by rising coronavirus cases and localized lockdowns across a number of U.S. states. The signing by the President Trump of a number of executive orders to mitigate the loss of the $600 enhanced unemployment benefit appears to have introduced an element of comfort to markets who believe, rightly or wrongly, that there will be a longer-term agreement in the coming weeks. In company news, shipping services provider and broker Clarkson's shares have risen sharply this morning after their latest first-half numbers showed that revenues and profits improved substantially from the same period last year. Despite the disruptions to global trade caused by the pandemic, revenues came in at $180.4 million, up from $167.8 million a year before, while profits rose 5% to $20.9 million from $19.2 million, largely driven by a significant outperformance from the company's broking division, which offset weakness in other areas of the business. More importantly, at a time when dividends have come the greatest threat since the financial crisis, the dividend was maintained at 25p per share. Despite the maintenance of the current payout, management declined to offer any guidance, due to caution over the outlook, and worries over weakness in the container market, due lower trade volumes. 6 years after the business IPO, DAA shares have struggled to make any sort of headway, sinking slowly lower from their 2015 highs, over concerns about the long-term sustainability of the business model. Reports that management were in talks with private equity firms with respect to a possible rescue saw the shares rise sharply on Friday, and they popped further this morning, in an irony which is probably not lost on a lot of its beleaguered shareholders, who have seen the shares lose over 60% of their value since the highs in March last year. It was these very same private equity firms all those years ago that saddled the business with the debt that is currently weighing the business down, and which is at the nub of the current problems facing the business now. The pandemic probably hasn't helped, as subscription and insurance revenues have come under pressure, and while cash flow is positive and rising, trying to grow a business, as well as service a high debt load, can be challenging, as management have found out, and this has been reflected in recent share price performance. Whatever is decided by management, shareholders will be hoping that any solution is a better one than the one that lumbered the business with the huge amounts of debt in the first place. Transport provider Go Ahead Group shares are also higher after the weekend confirmation from the Department of Transport of another 8-week funding package of $18.4 million for the provision of local bus services. Go Ahead also runs the Thameslink and Southern Rail Network services by way its Gavia subsidiary. Aerospace shares are getting a bit of a lift on reports that UK trade body ADS is drawing up plans to create a rescue fund to help the smaller players in the industry who are struggling due to the sharp slowdown in civil aviation travel. In more positive news for the travel industry, Carnival confirmed that it plans to restart its European cruise ship operation AIDA on the September 6, though in a minor setback. Some other destinations will have to wait until September 30 due to difficulty obtaining relevant travel safeguards from the various authorities. Crude oil prices have also received a lift from reports that Iraq is looking to cut output further, while Saudi Aramco painted an optimistic picture of oil demand despite a 73% plunge in profits in Q2. U.S. markets look set to take their cues from this morning's decent start for European markets, with a positive open and the main focus expected to be on the latest Q2 numbers from Marriott International, Royal Caribbean and SeaWorld Entertainment's unlikely to make positive headlines due to the impact of the coronavirus shutdowns that has affected the travel and leisure sector during the last few months. Twitter shares are also likely to be in focus on reports it is in talks with TikTok over its U.S. business. Dow Jones is expected to open 70 points higher at 27,513. S&P 500 is expected to open 4 points higher at 3,355. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors.